Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I search for fishing locations, how I decide whether the spot is worth fishing or not. Finding the right mark can change your results, especially if you're exploring like new coastline. For me, the fjords, deep water areas. So I'm going to try and break down the process step by step. Hopefully teach you a little bit how to read the contours of a map to find the safe areas, obviously the unsafe areas, how to identify steep terrain that's not possible to fish, how to find underwater features, places that have deep drop-offs, shallow ledges, how the weather affects the behavior, how the tide movement changes, where the fish sit, and how to basically find the best locations possible for the conditions. So if I'm fishing in the Norwegian coastline or fjords, new areas, I always do this. I always check. Even if I'm fishing abroad, I will do this, try to locate local map services and have a dig around and see what looks the best. So if you stick with me for the next 5 to 10 minutes, hopefully I can show you what I do. Might teach you a little bit, you might already know it, but we'll see how we get on. So bear with me. Thanks for joining in. If you like what you see, give a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Right, let's get into it then, and I'll run you through what is what and how I do things. Okay, so when I'm looking for a new place to fish, the first thing is obviously to go into the sea charts and see, what's there. Like I'm looking at contours. It depends if the contour lines are very steep, very compressed, or if they're very open. This tells me then whether the land that I'm going to fish off is steep drop off or if it flattens out. So obviously if we have compressed contours, which I'll show you now on the map, let me just show you here, I hope you can see it. So when you have steep contours like this tells me that this is a cliff face or a very steep drop off or a mountain going down into the sea. So that tells me that it's pretty steep, which means it's not possible to fish off, which also means that you're not able to cast. So that's what I look for the contour lines. That's what I'm looking at. As you come across here and you see up on this area here, the lines are not so compressed. So that tells me that it goes from steep terrain and then down and flattens off. And this tells me then that, okay, this is actually not a bad spot to stand on. But you do need to go into Google Maps and just see if there's any way that you can have a look at this, because it might not be possible to cross this terrain to get to here. So we'll do that now. I'll show you what it looks like on Google Maps in Street View. So in the Street View here, as you can see, it's not really clear what's going on here in this area. This is as close as I can get to it. But I do see that it's possible to walk across this section over to at least here. It is possible to park the car here, although I do tend to use the car park available, just in the off chance that I would go here and then somebody needs access to that road. So what I'll do then is I take a drive along here and I just get out, don't bring the gear, go have a look, scope out the area, and it does look like it kind of flattens out a little bit here as well. So this kind of leads me to, it is possible to get there by foot. There you see it a little bit spanned out, and if I come all the way out, this is the overview here. So we'll just zoom in. So this is what I'm looking at. I see here from the sea charts that this is a mountain peak. It looks like it's possible to walk around the back of this and down onto this location here. So this is what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's good to have a backup plan just in case it's not accessible. You don't want to go all the way out. So my backup plan for this location was that I have fished down on this area before, so I know if I can't get on here, I can just park up and walk and fish over here. You don't want to go to a location and then just be stuck. So that's what I do map-wise to check things. So what I'm looking for here now is what underwater features are available in this area. So again, this is the location that I think is possible to fish from. It looks interesting to me due to the drop-off. If I just zoom in a little bit here, you see we have 1.3 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters, 12 meters. So we have a shelf here on this area. So if I'm fishing on this side here, what I need to do then is say, right, okay, we have some shallow water on this side, we have a drop-off on this side, this looks interesting. Right, can I cast to that drop-off? So using this this app, which you can also get online on your phone, sorry. So what I do is I just go in here, it gives me a little blue dot, and I say, right, I want to cast into the 10-meter mark. So I have two options. I can either cast here, or I can try and hit this 10-meter mark here on this ridge. So, okay, let's say I cast from here, I measure out. Okay, it's a 27-meter cast. I have absolutely no problem to be able to cast that far, so that's fine. The other thing is here we have 20 meters. So again, back with the blue dot, measure it out. How far is it to 20 meters? It's a 50-meter cast. Again, not a problem for me to reach that. So I have plenty of options. So there's my options. If I want to see how far a 100-meter cast is, then obviously I just do the same again. Draw a line, right, into 20 meters of water, 100 meters casting. Let's see how 100 meters is looking. So let's hit it there at 118 meters. Should be able to cast that no problem. That gets me 30 meters of depth. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Steep drop-offs like that. It indicates it could be a productive fishing mark. It's creating natural hunting grounds for cod, pollock, other predators, you know, just sitting on those ledges waiting for the bait to move through. For the shallow ledges, these are sloping slowly across the land. On an incoming tide, the shallow shelves, they fill up with bait fish. And then the big fish move in, the big predators and stuff, they move in and feed on those bait fish. So it's all about structures underwater that you want to really look out for. So as I mentioned before, my backup plan is to fish off here on this location. Again, if I zoom in, I have fished this one before, so I know what it's like. So here, this area is flattening out. It's not tight like this area here. This is a steep drop off here. And again, this is another steep drop off, so I wouldn't fish there. But where I like to fish is on this part here. The whole terrain across here is relatively flat. It's easy to access. So that's my backup plan. And what is attractive here is you see the contours here are far spread apart, which means to me it's not a snaggy bottom, it's more of a mixed ground bottom. And casting distance again, you know, 100 meters gets me into 50 meters of water. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. The other thing I see as well, especially if you're a boat fisherman, this is what you need to look for. I'm not a boat fisherman, but things like this is underwater drop-offs or mountain peaks or whatever you want to call them. They do attract fish on the edges, on the sides, coming up and down. So that's something else, you know, as a boat fisherman you want to look out for. So I hope this is helpful so far. Yeah, we'll keep going. I'll just run through some more little bits for you. So on this part here, I'm just going to show you the same features for underwater, which to me I would never fish this location due to these contour lines being so compact, and I can see here that it runs out into the sea as well. So this would tell me that this is snaggy ground. Probably not the worst ground you could fish on, but for sure snaggy. Here you can see it again. Really, really tight contour lines on this map on land, if you see them here. And again, that relays back out to the sea. So avoid these types of areas, avoid anything with these tight contour lines, because that will for sure not be possible to fish. It's going to be too steep, no way to get down there. So there you go. So obviously the next thing I need to check or want to check is how the weather is. It's here in Norway, it's pretty important. Or not pretty important, it's very important to check the weather because it changes a lot. Now, all weather apps are different. No weather apps give exact weather predictions. Some of them are very good, some of them are very bad. What I look for when I'm fishing is wind speed. Unfortunately, it's in meters per second here, but 13 meters per second, constant wind, with a 17 meter per second gusts. So if I want to check out mile per hour for the meter per second, just use a unit converter. 13 meters per second is a 30 mile an hour wind with 17 meter per second gusts, which is a 40 mile an hour or 38 mile an hour gust. So this to me is not good fishing conditions, along with rain. Not good at all. Now, the thing is, here we have the direction of the wind that you must also check. So it's running a westerly wind. So westerly wind is okay for me in some locations. So there is times where you can go into your charts, look around, see where you're going. I live down here in this area, so a westerly wind will blow left to right. So that tells me I can fish this fjord in 17 meter per wind gusts from the west, because they'll be coming from behind me and I'll be able to tuck in and get some shelter. So the location is also determined on wind condition, obviously weather condition as well. There is also this weather app that I use, will also give me the height here of the waves. So here you have the wave height. So you have 3 meter wave height. So that's something else you need to look for. Two big waves standing on a flat rock, beg your pardon, is probably not a good idea. So if I go back into this location again, where I was, what I can do then is say, right, this rock flattens out. Will I be safe with a 3 meter wave coming over the top of this? I don't think so. So that's a no-go for me. It's all about safety. No fish is worth risking your life for. So take the waves into account as well. And then we move on to the tides. For the guys in the UK, this one's going to be a bit strange for you, but here is a weekly look ahead of the tides, and you can see the tide height. So let's go tomorrow. Low tide, 10:15, and it's a 0.21 meter low tide, and the high tide is 10 to 5, and it's a 0.4 meter. So that's a 20 centimeter, 19 centimeter difference between high and low. Almost the same each day. You know, for the whole month, in fact, it's about 20 centimeters, give or take, which is not big tides, but the tides do make a difference. Although they're not big tides here, I have found locations that fish better on high tide, some fish better on low tide. 20 centimeter difference doesn't, in my head, make any logical sense, but to the fish, it makes sense. In the UK, these tides can be up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 meters. My tip for that is go the day before. If you haven't fished the mark before, go the day before. go down at low tide, have a scope around, see what the ground is like, see if there's any gullies there, if there's any way that you can maybe pick up some bait while you're down there. Nothing better than picking up a bait from a location that you're going to fish, as the fish are moving in to feed on that bait anyway. So if you have the right bait for the location, it'll increase your chances to fish. Slack water while you're out fishing, normally it's pretty slow. Slack water, for those who don't know, is the time between the tide change. So at 10 to 5 on this tide, from 10 to 5, it'll be slack water for about an hour, depending on where you are. That means that the tide is all the way in, and it takes a little time for everything to turn around and start heading back out again. So that's called a slack tide, slack water, sorry, not slack tide, slack water. And this is probably the time where you won't get any bites. So just be aware of that as well. If you do want to go fishing and you want to check your tides, just be aware that you're going to get a half hour to an hour of slack water, which is, yeah, the time when the fishing is not bad. So if you turn up at exactly 10 to 5 and you cast out and you don't get a bite and you go, oh, this place is no good, it's probably because you're sitting on slack tide, or slack water, sorry. Keep saying slack tide. Okay, so that's it. That's how I look into fishing. So finally, after I've done all that, looked at the maps, checked out the underwater features, the weather, the tide, I'll go scope out the area as well, and then I'll decide and ask myself, you know, is it really worth fishing? Is it safe? Are the rocks too steep, too slippy, too exposed with the wave heights and tidal pull and stuff like that? Does it have the right underwater structures, as we've seen in the sea charts? This one to me looks like we have good underwater features. Yeah, also look for kelp, rocky reefs. If you're going to lure fish, kelp is a very good thing to look for. Fish hiding under the kelp. So, and to be honest, in areas like this where it's just completely flat, it's worth throwing a bait out there. You don't know what's out there, but generally it doesn't really hold much fish. Probably flatfish is what you will get in areas like this. But still worth casting a line, see what's out there. So that's it, guys. That's basically what I do when I'm looking on where to go fishing. If you have any questions or have missed something or I have said something that's incorrect, just pop a little comment down below. The next video coming out is going to be from this location, so we will see how we get on fishing off this mark. So stay tuned. If you're interested to see how we get on, the video is coming straight after this upload, so you'll get it straight away. I wanted to put the two together, but I felt the video was a bit long. So if you're watching this before the next one, perfect. If you're watching the fishing video before this, go back and have a look. Okay, thanks for tuning in. I hope it was educational. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. Whatever you do, just make sure you're safe out there. Take care of yourself. Try your best not to fish alone. Stay safe and tight lines, guys.